Dan Gilbert, an expert in this field, explains that the default mode is the state of mind in which our brain operates when we are not actively focused on a particular task. This mode occurs when our mind is free to wander and think about various things without any specific direction. It is the default or automatic state our brain goes into when we are not purposefully engaging in a specific activity or actively concentrating on something. Harvard wrote a book called Stumbling Into. Happiness occurs 46.9% of the time, which is equal to half. When you're on autopilot, it means you are not thinking or focusing much on what you are doing. There are two ways to do things. Brain has a mode called the default mode, and it seems like there is a missing part of the sentence. Could you please provide more information? The default mode of autopilot is called direct mode. That's similar to when the day is similar to another day. You start thinking about other things when your mind is wandering. Day without thinking about what you're doing. It's like being in a trance, where you perform tasks automatically without consciously paying attention to them. Day without consciously considering the immediate consequences. Mode is the state or way in which you are currently existing or participating in the present moment or situation. Controlling your own thoughts and what you focus on. If you have a choice, you can choose to either do something again or not. What are you doing and where are you going? In simple terms, when something evolves, it means it changes or develops. In the context of this text, there are two different ways or settings for you to use or interact with something. The brain has an autopilot feature and controls various functions. You automatically choose, and then there is you want or prefer. You need to consider and decide about something. You begin to understand and accept the truth. Being a thoughtful person is a good thing. I want you to have a certain skill. I want you to be my master. Practice changing your way of thinking. It's not difficult. An event is a happening or activity that takes place. It can be considered a process because it involves a series of steps or actions. Have about yourself can hold you back from reaching your full potential. This means that there are certain things that are already decided for you. In simpler terms, default means things that are already set as they normally are. Your brain has a network, and it is functioning. To do something, you have to keep doing it again and again. You want to make changes, and you know it. Got many things you want to do in your life. But then you begin to consider those. When something is different, you begin right away. When you catastrophize, you begin to worry excessively. Start considering all the causes why it will not occur. This happens a lot, and that's why. It is commonly experienced because someone in the past, you were taught to think in a certain way. You have experienced a lot of unpleasant things. Maybe you have taught yourself to. Supposed to happen, and we think they will happen. You will always experience this in your life. There may be unfortunate events that occur there. Struggling financially, it can be really tough to make ends meet. Always letting your mind go back to its usual state. To believing that negative events will occur. Or believing that you're not physically fit or in good condition. That you are not good enough. You're not good enough, or believing that things will work out. Regular way of thinking, or the way your mind naturally works. Scientists use the term default mode of thinking to describe a common way our minds naturally operate. The standard setting of a network is called the default mode. The brain that work together to control certain functions of the body. Your brain has learned how to do certain things without you having to think about them. There are a few reasons why we have a default. The mode network is necessary because we require it. There are many things that you and we have to do certain things every day. Work. To solve a problem, you need to think about it. Simpler explanation. Patterns become a part of your normal way of doing things. Mode network. Your depot means that the network for your store is set to a certain way or method. This text means that the person is admitting to pretending to be someone they are not and feeling like they are a failure. I'm not nice, nobody likes me. I'm not popular. This thing is so cute that it has become a part of your life. The default mode network and its super changes. It is crucial for you to understand that only like I can change from being a I am a person who uses their right hand more often, and I am learning how to do something on my own. A person who predominantly uses their left hand for activities. Do something again. The process is not changed in any way. Change from someone who consistently doesn't pay their debts. Changing from having negative thoughts to being positive. A person who thinks quickly and fairly. In simpler terms, it's like learning to switch from writing with a pen to typing on a computer keyboard. The text is already quite simple and concise. It states that your right hand is equivalent to teaching yourself. Write using your non-dominant hand. Be a continuous process instead of a one-time occurrence. It will take time. This means you need to change or switch to a different mode, where you quickly take the pen. With your right hand, you guide or steer the movement. I want to purposely pick up this pen. At first, use your left hand. Your writing is going to impress you. I won't be able to read it very well. It won't feel familiar. It's going to feel awkward, but it's still the same thing. When you begin to change your thinking, it should be based on reality and truth. Are doing or experiencing. Defaulting to being very direct means always choosing to communicate in a straightforward and clear manner. To intentionally consider or ponder ideas or concepts. Rewrite this text in simple words. Something that is good and helpful. Positive and hopeful, with lots of potential. This is the task of making alterations to the patterns in your mind. There are no alternatives. There is a method to accomplish this task, and you have the ability to complete it in a similar manner. You can learn to transition from changing from being left-handed to being right-handed. Direct and concentrating teaching means providing clear and focused instruction to help students learn. Learn to write using your right hand. You can do it, but it will need you to switch from the usual or automatic mode. It's wonderful when something is useful. It's really bad for you when it's working. The most important thing is that there are some people who are not in your favor. The way to prevent you from doing something is by stopping you. Think, you can change how you feel and act. Believe that you will indeed transform your life. I think your way of thinking is a bit complex. I think you have two options. We will repeat how we think. You've always had this year. Evolve your Pokemon, they become stronger and gain new abilities. Change the way you think about how you can change. The story of your life. We want to show you how to learn and become